We're busy as Alan mentioned, a series, building stronger families. We're building stronger families. Why? The next few days, watch the news over the next few days. Just watch I'm telling you, watch. If you never watch the news, watch the next few days, the next days that are imminent, the ones now. I'm not saying days as in infinity. The next few days on your calendar. Watch what's happening in the next few days in South Africa, globally. Watch there. And why we're preparing strong families, because it's the only thing that's going to stand in this world is a family of God. Everything else is going to fall. Everything that you know is going to crumble, and it's the family of God that is built on the rock. The foundations of the world are crumbling. I promise you, if you're a student right now, and you're a student and studying what's happening in geopolitics, whatever you're seeing, look at the foundations. There are no longer cracks in the foundations. There are chasms. The foundations are gone. And now it's left up to the governments of the world to try and fool the world that the foundation's in place. I'm telling you, this is what's happening right now as I speak. And the next few days, you're going to see the curtains drawn back. But you have been prepared to be a people of God. You have been prepared, and you need to now take the message, the word of God, the double-edged sword, the Spirit of the Lord that's within you. You need to take it so seriously, because we are now going to build like never before. We're going to establish where the foundations are broken. You're going to be the restorers of the breach, as the Lord calls us. You're going to restore the breach. You're going to restore the chasms. You're going to restore the brokenness. It's not up to governments anymore. It's up to the very organism that the Lord has put in the earth before its foundation. It's His body. And He calls it ecclesia in the Greek. We call it in English church. Right? And it's not a club. It is not an organization. It is an organism. It's alive within itself. It's living for a purpose, and that is the purposes of God. And that organism has got a name. All right? Just like organizations are branded, and every bit of clothing you wear has got what? A label. Isn't that so? And the first thing I do when I buy clothing, I get Renee to take the labels out. She's smiling. Not because I'm unbranded. I know I look unbranded. But it's because I have a passion for cotton. I love cotton. All right? I'm speaking out of the house now. Oh, I just hope. Now everyone's going to buy me cotton hankies for my birthday. I love cotton, and the next best thing is bamboo. But cotton and the thread, I'm so passionate about cotton, I understand, as a man, I understand thread count. I mean, and anything above 700 is good. For those who have no clue what I'm talking about, there is a master class after today on cotton, right? But why do I cut the brand and the label off? Is because the most expensive cotton shirts have nylon labels. And if you ever have somebody in your home that irons cotton, you need a very good temperature to iron cotton. That is not the right temperature for nylon, so they burn the nylon. And when you put it on your gentle body, it scratches you. I'm a sensitive guy. But why do I say that? It's because the world is gone crazy about brand and labeling. But God is also precious about His label. He is precious about His name. He says, my name is jealous. Meaning, if we read it in the Hebrew from Deuteronomy 34, if we read it, the Hebrew is written the other way around. I am jealous for my name. We've been stuck in Exodus 34. So if you read it in the King James Version, it says, my name is jealous. And it's not a jealousy that some of you have. You can look at that jealous one right now. You see, I just look at my word. It's not that kind of jealousy. God, the Hebrew says that the Lord who is jealous for His name. It's not that His nature is jealous. He is jealous, and it means protective over His name. And if you understand and get the last two messages, we know where is the name of God written. Revelation. Where's the name of God written? It's on our foreheads. He wrote the name on our forehead. Revelation, the closing chapters of all of history, God writes His name on the bride, on the church, who is married to His Son, and He puts His name on the bride, who is the church, who is you. And God puts His name on you, and He says, I am jealous for that name. I am protective over you. I am watching over you. Do you get it? That God is not jealous that when you look at something too long, you say, where were you? Where were you on Friday night? Why did you come home late? And then you say, I wasn't late. You said, yes, you were 3 minutes late. All right. He's not that kind of God. He's not that kind of Father. But He has a name. And Timothy asked me, so about the wives, why do we change the name of the wife? Very good question. Jessica asked me about God and does He forgive? Because it says He holds accountable and is just to the third and fourth generation in Exodus 34. So we've got Urban and Agneta Gustafsson in our midst. This is a good example of carrying your name. Gustafsson means that Urban is the son of Gustav, right? If you go to Sweden, almost everybody's surname ends in son or S-O-N, because in history you were known by the name of your father. And when you got married, that wife of yours changed her role and her status in life to take on the identity of your father. So she became a Gustafson. Why? If you look at genealogy, that's exactly how the family worked. It was from the father. It's only in our modern world now that the women, you have the right to choose your surname. And for professional reasons, you will see that particularly professors or doctors or authors, they will have a double-barrel surname. Okay, that's because they were registered in their previous surname and now they got married, so they have a double-barrel surname for professional reasons. You can choose your name. I want to say in our modern world, today, I'm going to give you an option to choose what name's written on your head. You have a choice on what's written on your head. And you actually have to choose, because whether you like it or not, you're not going to go unbranded. If the Father doesn't write His name on your head, what is written on your head in Revelation? Come on. 666. And we know what 666 means. It's called the mark of the beast. It is not the banking system, asseblief. Please. It is not the systems of trade. 666, it's man in its fullest manhood, thinking like man. The number's written on your head because you are fully absorbed in carnality. And we know who the ruler is of that carnality and that system of the world. He's called the cosmocrator, which is the devil. So you carry another name. Whether you like it or not, there's a name written on your head. It's either the name of the Father or it's 666. Look at somebody's head. Do you see it? I know some of you, all right? You carry a name, whether you like it or not. Today, I want to conclude this, and I'm going to throw the ball to others to pick up the pieces from where I scattered the pieces, the thoughts. And from the next few weeks, they're going to pick it up. But I want to be very practical today. You carry a name. Tell somebody you carry a name, like it or not. Like it or not. So Renee has adopted my family name. I am Charles White, son of Stanley. He's still there by the grace of God. My father is still standing. He's Stanley. As strong this year. He's 89, 88, amper 88. But he's still standing. I was telling some friends in the week, my father, he's buried all his friends. He's still standing by the grace of God. And we see him, he still stands straight up. You know, all his friends are standing like this. And he still stands straight up. And it's amazing. I want to be like that when I get to 88. Wow. Can't be married to, imagine being married to an 85-year-old when I'm 88. But it's going to be glorious. We carry a name. And wives, when you take on the name of your husband, Cindy, did you protest? Protestest thou? No. Sabrina, you didn't protest, right? You took on a Lawrence. I mean, it's a good trade, Janari for Lawrence. I mean, my wife traded Milan for a white. Now she's Afrikaner and white. It wasn't a problem. Why not? Why wasn't it a problem, Cindy? Why wasn't it a problem, Renee? You still love me, right? Okay. Why wasn't it a problem? We were in love. And that love says, where you go, I will go. Where you live, I will live. Where you mess up, I will kill you. No, right? I will take on, Aaron, you took on Cole's family name. I won't say it now because I don't know if it's Silje or Shilje or something. Yeah. But you were in love. And it was the joy of the husband to share his name. But where does that come from? Can I just dig right back? First mention. It's Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve. Eve, I'm talking about building strong families, talking about name. What's the first job of Adam? Name. He named things. And even when Eve came along, it wasn't God who called her woman, it was Adam. Adam's first role was naming. We name things. It's in our DNA. Human beings still love naming things. And we love nicknames. And where does the role of the woman taking on the name of the man come from? Because the man carries the DNA. The man carries the choice of male or female. Do you know that? All right, biology. We studied biology. Quick biology lesson. Chromosomes of a woman are? No. Sorry, XX. XX. The chromosomes of a man are? XY. Now you know why. You know why. Renee always says, why, Charles? XY. XY. But do you notice, how do you get a Y? You just take a part of the X away. And you end up with a Y. But that's stretching it. That's a bit of eisegesis. But let me do some exegesis. Where did Eve come from? From Adam, right? And it says, in our Bibles, it says he first put Adam to sleep, took a rib from Adam. The Hebrew word there does not mean rib. It means side. God took a side of Adam away. A side that Adam could not live without. That's why, do you understand? It wasn't a rib that Adam lost. He lost his whole side, was taken out of him. Do you understand now why the two need to become one flesh? Because without the wife, the man is sideless. And what happens to somebody who doesn't have a right side? What happens to a boat whose keel is only stuck in one position? You see what happened? Your whole life is a circle. You just go around and around and around and around, and you never can progress in life. You need your side. You need your side. What did the devil do when he hung Jesus on the cross and killed him? He pierced his. Do you start to understand that women, it's not an afterthought of God? It's an indelible, indispensable part of man. But that side cannot be part of something that doesn't submit. That's why Paul says, if you're going to build strong families, wives, submit to your husbands. What does that word mean? It means to come into the gap that is missing in his life, to fill the side that is empty without you. Submit to the role and the place that God has fashioned you to form. Oh, Lord Jesus. You see why family is so important to God, because He's designed it that way. And for those who have, I always say, you die a few times in life. You die when you're dead, but you also die when you get divorced, because you lose a side. And many here today have lost a side of you. Please don't feel sorry for yourself, because the Lord who manufactured that side is able to fill any void Himself. If He made you and designed you, He knows how to make you whole. Do you get it? Do you see why the enemy attacks? Where does he attack first? Your side. For those who run, okay, I don't run anymore because very few people chase me. But for the runners in the house, what happens when you run? You get the stitch, right? We call it a stitch. You get, okay. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? All right. Are the rest just lazy? All right. When you run, you get a pain in your side, right? You get the stitch. Your side starts to pain. You struggle until you break through. And we call it the second breath. You get your second wind, and then you start running smoothly. I've never found my second wind. Every year at school, they say, Charles, you're a middle distance runner. And I promise you, the 800, it took me 4 years to finish one. I did 100 every year. Because they said it's a middle distance race, and I just want to run and get done. All right? So I'm very poor at planning those strategies for running. But some of you have run so fast, your side is aching. And I want to say to some of the families here, you need to pause. And you need to heal your side. Do you get it? You need to take care of the side that the Lord has made for you, because He is really serious about family, and He has written His name on family, and it's His own name. I hope you get it this morning, because we live in a society that, no, Charles, that was a wrong side. Pray for the Lord to give me a new side. I mean, what kind of human being are you with 3 sides? All right? Love, in the words of a famous music artist, love the one you're with. Love your side. If your side is with you, just give them a squeeze. For those who don't have a squeeze, see me afterwards. We have a special lineup of prayer. We'll fill that. We'll fill that space today. Pastor Kenny is here. Your marriage register available, Pastor Kenny. We sorted out right here. We're going to have a busy week. But the Lord has made us to be one flesh. And it's the best example being one body. He uses the picture of husband and wife for a church that is married to him, that becomes one flesh, that carries one name. We're not confused. We don't have a professional name. Some churches do. But we have the name, and it's the name of the Lord. And when we come as one body into a world system, and we stand in one name, every power, every principality, every ruler of wickedness, every high thing needs to come down, because we represent one name. We represent. Do you see why it's so important that you are one, that your side is intact, that your brother and your sister is intact? Because God is compassionate. He is compassionate. And the word compassionate is a picture word in the Hebrew. And it means, all right, I need to say this in proper English because it can come out wrong. It means the intimacy of a womb of a mother. So it means there's a baby, a child. And when God says, I'm compassionate, the pictures that the Jews would have got, the Israelites, they call Jews later, would have got, was the womb of a mother, and creating a clear picture of intimacy. When God says in Exodus 34, I am compassionate, it means I'm intimate, as a mother is with a child. And we live in a society where mother-child relationships are so strained and so messed up. Why? Because the devil is attacking the side. He's destroying the side. But we carry a name that brings healing, that restores the breach. We bring healing in His name. So we restore that name, we restore the bonds. And can I give you some of the names of God? Can I just read it? Because there's no way I'm going to go get my notes going today. So when you hear the name, when I say Seth, what does it mean? You know, we grew up in a time, I'm so glad Lauren and Matthew were very deliberate in understanding their names and the biblical meaning of the names. When we had kids, we chose names that were symbolic. And we tried to get as close to biblical names. So Sean is an Irish name. And in case you didn't know, it's the Irish name for John. Yes, you've got some Irish blood here. It's the Irish name for John. And so it's a Gaelic name. And if you don't know what John means, it means God is gracious. So if you encounter Sean, whenever I say Sean, I mean God is gracious. God is gracious. And I know that my son carries the grace of God. And when his name, he carries his name. Lauren, you can see I travel too much, is a French name. And it comes from laurel. and it means sweet of honor. So when we call Lauren, we say sweet, because she's my sweetness. And she's honorable, and she's sweet of honor. But it also can mean wisdom. If you ever have a conversation with her, make sure you have lots of time. Because she's a teacher, and if you don't understand, she's going to try and teach you. And she's got a father's gift of not knowing where the full stop is. And they would place laurel wreaths and flowers around the victor in a battle. So it's a symbol of victory. It's a symbol of honor. So when I name my kids, that is what's going through my mind. I know what you're thinking. Why didn't my parents name me this name? Right? I know what you're thinking. No wonder we have trouble. No wonder, because we named the child Trouble. Conflict. No wonder the poor child's got no money. You didn't think about the name. But you must ask, when your name is recorded, where is it written down? Because some names are written on, what's those big boards? Honor boards in schools and in clubhouses and in places. They are the list. My father's on the honor board at SP. So Stanley Patrick White, you'll see his name there. Was that for the days absent, Dad? No. No. I mean, he's on the academic honor board. I can say that. I mean, even I have honor saying that my dad's on that honor board. Follow me to the honor board. But no matter what Stanley Patrick White means, when it's put on the honor board, it takes on the significance of the honor board. Isn't it so? So let me ask it this way. Where is your name written? In the Lamb's Book of Life. What do you carry? The honor of the Lamb's Book of Life. My name is written down. It cancels out whatever your parents named you. Because it's recorded. Tell somebody my name's recorded. And if you cannot say amen to that, there's another red carpet for you after the service. Because I want to make sure your name is recorded. Your name must be written down in the Lamb's Book of Life. Are you getting something today? Are you getting something to call your kids? And if you name them by a name that causes trouble in your home, today change their name. Call them Lovey. Call them Beautiful. Call them Honorable. Why? Because whatever Adam called something, that was its nature. When Adam named the dolphin, what did you hear? Wah, wah, wah. Right? The most gentle creature. When he called the lion, do you picture the lion? The nature. When Adam named things, he called forth the very nature of that thing. When you call your family, call forth their nature. Can you do that today? My wife Renee means born again. right? So every time I call her, she gets born again. I'm married to the most holy woman. She gets born again every day. But can you take your earthly name right now, and can you let Jesus cancel whatever curse is over your name and let him write it on his honor board and say, today I add Bruce to the Lamb's Book of Life. So when the enemy comes looking for Bruce, he needs to first get authority from the Lamb's Book of Life, because you are hidden with him. I tell you, this thing of name is so much deeper. The name of God, I told you it's the first reference, first mention is in Genesis 1, Elohim. It's not God's name, it's his title. It's like Mr., right? So when you say Elohim, it means God. And that's often small God in Scripture because it's a title. Like you call me pastor, it's not my name. I don't like it because it doesn't tell me who I am. You don't call me by a title. My name is Charles. So you call me Charles. It means manly. I'm so glad nobody's laughing. Because you agree, right? It means manly. My second name is Benjamin. It means Ben Yamin, son of my right hand. Ben is son. God calls us Ben, his son. That's your name, Ben. You are son to God. Yahweh, we unpack that. In the transliteration, we call it Jehovah because we got it mixed with the Latin. So Yahweh, YHWH, the tetragrammaton, became Yahweh, YAHWEY, Yahweh, we call it, to pronounce it. In the King James Version, you will see Jehovah. Another name for God is Adonai, right? So, which means Lord and Master. When God appears to Abram, he says, I'm El Shaddai. I'm all-powerful. You get this name of God? He is El Elyon. He is the God Most High. He is El Olam. He is the everlasting God. When God refers to himself, he calls himself by these names. He is El Roi to Hannah. You know, Hannah was chased away by Sarah, or she fled an abusive master because Sarah got jealous that Hannah was carrying Ishmael and treated her horribly. But Hannah was her own problem because Hannah had an attitude. And you read Hagar had an attitude, and it caused a problem. The attitude was, I'm carrying something special. So you got to treat me. I'm no longer a slave. I am now the master. And that attitude got into trouble. Be careful of Christians who have that big ego attitude because they carry Jesus. The first way God describes himself is compassionate, forgiving. When Scripture speaks now about God, he uses a compound form of God's name. And a compound form means it's made up of two names. And it would often be Yahweh followed by another name. And we know very well Jehovah Jireh, which means God is my provider. The Lord will provide, Genesis 22. Jehovah Rapha, The Lord who? Heals. We called on Jehovah Rapha during COVID. And if you're here today and you are sick, you can call on the name of the Lord, Jehovah Rapha. I am who I am. I will be who I will be. And God now starts to unpack His compound name throughout Scripture. Jehovah Nissi. He's the banner. God, our banner. And His banner over us, Proverbs says, is love. So if you're going to hold up a banner, that banner must not be anything else but love. He is Jehovah Shalom. He is the Lord our peace. He is Yahweh Ra, Jehovah Ra, or Ruah, R-A-A-H, the Lord our shepherd. And David quotes that in Psalm 23. God, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not do it again. Jehovah Sekinu, the Lord our righteousness. I mean, you can call on the name of the Lord, you shall be saved. You just need to know which name to say. You know, if a dog comes charging at you, you can't swear at it. Call it by its name. And then you run. You will see when you shout the name of the dog at the dog, how does this person know my name? Right? Jehovah Shammah. The Lord goes before me, or the Lord is there. The Lord is there. Where's the Lord? He's Shammah. He's there. Where's the Lord? He's there. He's Shammah. The Lord Shammah. He is God. And whether you call Him like the Jehovah Witnesses, Jehovah, or like the King James Version, His name is Yahweh. Adonai means master. Means Lord or master. And you see that in your Bible. You see Adonai, it's the name of God, but it means master. But His name, as revealed in Exodus 34, is Yahweh. Y-H-W-H, right? So I'm going to shorten this and close. For those who are wondering, so why do we have the name Jesus? And Jesus says, if you see me, you see the Father. Right? Why Jesus? And I had a big fight with somebody in this area who was a Christian who now believes that we who are New Testament believers who accept Jesus as Lord have lost our way because we have now stopped all the Jewish customs, and we are calling Jesus by an ungodly name. His name is Yeshua, and I said yes, His name is Yeshua. But you're losing the whole point. You're using the whole point. To me, He's Jesus. At 17 years of age, when I bowed my knee and accepted Jesus into my life, I didn't care whether it was Yeshua or Jesus. He saved me. I was born again on the 17th of July, 1983, when the Lord saved me. And He didn't come to me and say, if you tell me my name is Yeshua or Jesus. I got saved that day. I got born again. And it wasn't whether the critical fact was Jesus or Yeshua or Yeshua appeared to me. He saved me. The point is, it's not the name. It's the point of the name. It means God saves. And that's what He came to do. And we can get hung up on on going back to the Old Testament and trying to live these ways. And we are foolish when we try and recreate these things because we've moved on. It's the point of the name. And his point is God saves. And he saved me. And today, if you believe you are not saved, guess what? He can save you. And I want to say, if Jesus never met me at 17 years of age, your life would have been hell. I think I would have been the worst person on earth. I think I would have been one of the most dangerous people. Because you have to see me without the Lord. It's a horrible person. You have to see me without Jesus. It's a dangerous person. It's a vengeful person. You must see me without Jesus. I'm a hateful person. You must see me without Jesus. I'm unforgiving. Without Jesus, I'm full of bitterness. But I want to tell you, with Jesus, I'm compassionate, and I'm kind, and I'm merciful, and I'm loving, and his banner over me is love. Why? Because he saved me. And he redeemed me, and he changed my name, and he wrote my name in his book. And he says, Charles is worthy to be included in my book. I'm writing about him right now. And he included you. And today, he cannot include you without your permission, because then he would be committing plagiarism. He needs your permission to say, write my name in your book, Jesus. Write my name. Today I come and my name is written everywhere apart from your book. I don't know that my name is written in the Lamb's Book of Life. I don't know what's written on my head, but I'm not leaving here today without knowing that I've submitted my life to him, that I have a name written on my head, and it's the name of the Father, and my name is written in his book, and it's there forever. There is no eraser that can rub my name out, because he wrote it there himself. I gave him permission. Amen. Today you can choose that. You can choose that. And you can come to church 100 times. You can come every week. You can even come when I'm not here. It doesn't mean your name gets written in that book. It only gets written when you ask him, Lord, change my name. And we know what name means. It means the person, identity, and nature of a person, like Alan says. Change who I am. And some of you are married to a name that's not yet written in the book. You thought that guy's name or her name was written in the book, but all your experience for the last few years was bitterness, brokenness, horrible, nasty arguments. Today, submit to let your name be written. Let your name be written. The Lord is jealous, and he wants his name written on you. I haven't even started my notes, so for your house churches, you're going to get notes that has absolutely got nothing to do with today's sermon. Apart from the introduction. I've been studying this every day for weeks. And I realized, Mr. Kenny, I'm not even getting past the surface yet. I'm lost just in the surface. And I realized how I've misrepresented God. You know the third commandment. Who remembers the third commandment? Thou shalt not use the Lord's name in vain. All right? You shall not, it must be the third. I can't get my maths wrong. You shall not use the Lord's name in vain. We think that, and I know Christians get upset when they say Jesus on the television or Jesus Christ. You say, oh, you're using the Lord's name in vain. It's not that. Using what? We don't have time. But it means God has put His name on you. And He's saying, don't disparage the name because I'm jealous. Don't misuse, don't misrepresent my name. Why did Moses miss the promised land? Because he misrepresented God's name. When the Lord said, you stand before the rock and you speak to it. The first time He said, you strike the rock. The second time God says, you speak to it. Now I'm going to give you the word. No longer are you going to use your own ability and the signs of yourself. Moses, second time, there's no water. Now you're going to speak to the rock. You see, the word must become flesh. And God says, I want the people to see now. They migrated through the wilderness. I want them to see my word become flesh. So Moses, I want you to speak to the rock in my name. What did Moses do the second time? He thought it worked. The first time, I'm so mad, he took his staff and he slammed that rock. And Jesus said, I am the rock. And I will build my church on it. And you will represent me. Moses, you misrepresented the Father's name. God is jealous. You will be disqualified from going, and the whole generation will be disqualified because they love meat. They love the calf. And they worshiped idols, and they missed the point. And they misrepresented God's name. The Lord wanted to use them to carry His name to the nations. I wish we had time. There's so many powerful scriptures. And they could not carry God's name to the nations. They couldn't. And we say, stupid Israelites. It's so easy. Why can't you do it? I say, stupid Christians. It's so easy. Why can't you do it? We fail every day. We fall every day. We make mistakes. Isn't it so? You don't even need to look around. You can just look to me. Say, yeah, it's right. We fail every day. We fail. But God still chooses to write His name. Because He's gracious. And He's loving. And He's merciful. He's merciful to the thousands. And He's gracious to everyone. And He says, but I'm also just. And I will hold you, Exodus 34, accountable to the third and fourth generation. So I can answer you, Jessica. God's mercy is for 1,000. For thousands. Thousands means it's unlimited. But His justice is for a season. Do you see how much bigger God's mercy is? But He's just. He will hold you accountable for the season that you're in. He means that my mercy is much bigger than anything. I will forgive you. And He's talking to a people who had just committed the biggest adultery. They built a calf in the midst of their highest move of liberation and freedom and becoming a people. They go build a calf to worship an idol. And God says, I will be gracious unto them. I will be merciful unto them. But my justice demands they do not make it into the promised land. But I won't stop you, Moses, from the promised Lamb. You will encounter Jesus on the Mount of Transfiguration. You will see Him, and you will know Him, and you will see Him in His light. And the light was so bright, it's called Transfiguration, because He is the light of the world, and He is the light of our lives. And this light tells us who are in darkness, what does He say to us? You are the light of the world. You are the salt of the earth. Do you see what Jesus does? He doesn't leave us. Let me take my phone so I can close. And Renee can do the announcements. And she can make us all late. Do you see how precious you are to the Lord? That He would write Yvonne. He doesn't write Yvonne on you because your parents named you that. I don't even know what Yvonne means. Okay, no, we'll go check Google. But there's a name on you, and it's Father. It's His name. And when we encounter you, we encounter compassion and love. When you meet her, right? Compassionate. She was a nurse for all her life. Compassion. Where were you when I was in the OR? Compassionate, gracious, merciful. Can you ask your neighbor, how do you fare in carrying God's name? How do you fare? Okay, are you looking at one another like saying, I'm not fair, I'm brown? No, how do you live your life carrying God's name? Sean, how do you live your life carrying God's name? Worship team, you can close us off. Matthew, when you go to Sweet Valley and you walk in there, can we hold up Genesis 34 in closing? Because I'm going to hand over today. And hopefully I get another chance to try and teach this message and get past the introductions at least one Sunday. The other guys, the teachers are much better at it. Can we Exodus 34 verses 6, 7. Is it coming? Did the screen go asleep? If you have a Bible, you can turn there. Next week, we're going to segue into how we live this kingdom, and I'm handing over. All right, let me read it to you. And think about Moses, who was by no means perfect. I mean, this poor guy messed up so many times that God's justice had to stop him from entering the promised land. But Moses is still recorded in the hero's book. He's on the wall of heaven. His name is recorded. He made it there. He might not have made it to the promised land, but his name is recorded in the wall of fame because he was awesome. I think I've messed up far more than Moses. I've messed up far more than David, who messed up so badly, committed adultery, and didn't even stop there, went on to have somebody murdered. I mean, he was a real gangster. But guess what? God says, he's my beloved. He's a man after my own heart. God wrote his name in the wall of fame in Hebrews chapter 11. I want to say, if Hebrews chapter 11 had no end, your name is being written. Can you see it? Can you walk into heaven one day and we see a Jenna Springlia? Oh, she's now a, what's the surname? I'm just testing. You're going to stay a Springlia till 40. But her name, let's go look for Yvonne's name. Where's Yvonne? She's here. Jesus wants to write your name. Come on, church. You don't know how precious that is. Sabrina, Janari, scratched out Lawrence. It's there. It is there. My name is written. Come on, tell somebody, my name is written. It's written, like they sang, it's written in glory. Rodwin, no matter what anyone says, God found it fit to write your name. How awesome is that? Christine, she's now a basson. And if you think your name is going to be written in order of status, you know, Rudy did a lot of good work. He fixed the pastor's car that was so useless. You think your name is going to be written higher up because of what you did. I've got news for you. God is no respecter of person. He doesn't measure your sin. And the word sin means to miss the mark, hamatia, which means to miss the mark. What is the mark? The mark is the name that you carry. Don't miss carrying His name. Don't miss that mark. That's the standard. That is the standard, church. Keisha, when that boyfriend comes knocking, you know how you chase the ones that are going to be no good away? You just show them the name. This is the name I carry. This is my thinking is about Him only. And if you want to marry me, Jenna, if He wants to marry you, He must accept you with the name that's already written, because no man is going to write his name on your thinking through manipulation and abuse and thinking. My thinking and my thoughts and the name on me is Jehovah, is Yahweh, and He is the name that is all gracious, all powerful. And if you're going to marry me one day, it comes with a name, sir. Comes with a name, madam. And if you can't carry that name, we're going to be unequally yoked, because we can't carry different names. Our kids are going to be confused. They don't know whether they're Ali or Abel. Do you understand now what it means to be yoked? To be equally yoked, meaning that the side is in place, that the man is made whole, that the name that comes from their mouths is gracious and merciful and full of compassion. This is a family of God. And you've just been in an environment saturated with grace.